1 Samuel chapter 17, starting at reading at verse number 1 to 4. I would encourage you on your own time to read the entirety of the chapter 17 because for sake of time, I will not read all 58 verses of it, but understand that the content of my message is being extrapolated for the entirety of 1 Samuel chapter 17. It is a very familiar passage of the scripture, and I am going to just use a couple verses here to illustrate my point, and I hope this message today blesses you. So 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 1 to 4, and then after that we will jump to verse 32. So 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 1 to 4, reading from the New International Version, and it reads as follows. Now the Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Sokoh in Judah. They pitched camp at Ephes Dammim between Sokoh and Azekah. Saul and the Israelites assembled and camped in the valley of Elah and drew up the battle line to meet the Philistine. Verse 3, the Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites another, with the valley between them. A champion, verse 4, named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistines' camp. His height was 6 cubits and a span. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of scale armor of bronze weighing 5,000 shekels. On his legs he wore bronze greaves, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and his iron point weighed 600 shekels. His shield bearer went ahead of him. Can we skip to verse 32? 1 Samuel 17, verse 32. Then David said to Saul, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." So Saul replied, You are not able to go out against this Philistine and fight him. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth. But David, verse 34, but David said to Saul, Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. And when a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I, David, went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from his mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. Verse 37, the Lord who rescued me from the power of the lion and the power of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said to David, Go, and the Lord be with you. For the time that is asked to share, allow me to speak as the Spirit shall give me utterance. You've got this. You've got this. Would you just indulge me and play preacher with me and look to your neighbors, to your left and to your right, and say, Neighbor, oh neighbor, regardless of what is going on in your life right now, you've got this. Allow me to begin my sermon with a statement of truth, and that statement is that if we are called to be all in and truly walking in God's purpose, that we will face trials and tribulations. Trials and tribulations are part of the package deal when we decide to commit our lives and live entirely for the kingdom of God. When we decide to live according to God's purpose, my brothers and my sisters, we will live a life that does not make us immune to trials and tribulation. As a matter of fact, Reverend Phil, I will worry about someone claiming to be called by God and never having to experience a trial or a tribulation. Because trials and tribulation come as a time or a season in our lives when we face something that seems to be bigger than us. It's a time, a season in our life where our life, our circumstances do not look like what God has purposed or what God has promised for us. A moment where you feel out of place, where you feel confused, questioning everything about yourself, where there seems to be a misalignment between your reality and what you know God can do. If you are called to live all in, and if you are called to live according to God's purpose, if you are called to be a Christian, my brothers and my sisters, you will have trials and you will have tribulations. The Webster English Dictionary defines trials as a test of faith, patience, or stamina through subjection to suffering or temptation. And it defines tribulations as a distress or suffering resulting from oppression or persecution. Well, my name ain't Webster. My name is Alan. And in my translation means that trials test what you believe. And tribulation will test how long you believe what you believe. There will come a moment in your life with Christ where whatever you believe God to be will be tested. And it will not be in one occasion, it will be in multiple occasions to see if the circumstances do not align. Would you still believe in what you believe? Dr. Maya Angelou puts it beautifully when she spoke about how often God uses even the difficult experiences in our life as a necessary ingredient for our growth and preparation. She says something, and I quote, that delays and hardship are not necessarily a denials of dreams, but rather opportunities for strengthening, learning, and ultimately for the greater fulfillment of what God has put on the inside of us. And words reminds us that even when things feel wasted, when our realities do not look like our calling or our future, God is working to prepare us for something greater during the season in our lives. Well, my wife, as you know, has been an athlete. I seems to think that my kids got my gene, but no, they didn't. They got their mom. She used to play volleyball and Reverend Phil, basketball, and even track. Now, I didn't know why she didn't take it seriously, because I could have been wealthy right now, sitting there and be a stay-at-home dad, but that's another topic. So she decided to enroll Landon, a 9-year-old, into a soccer club. Now, mind you, knowing my wife, she never enrolled him in kids of his age. No. No, Latanya Michelle Ayoh. No. She said she's going to put him with kids that are bigger, stronger, and can play the game. So she signed him up for kids that are 10 and 12 years of age. And say, he's going to have to learn how to play soccer. Now, mind you, those kids have played all their lives. They know the rules. They understand the game. And then I asked her, are you sure? She said, yes, I'm sure. So sure enough, she signed him up for the game. I shut my mouth because happy wife, happy life. Go ahead, proceed. Let him go. First practice, boy is running. I can see in his face. I said, I know what's going to happen. We get into the car. I hate this. They're bigger. They're faster. I quit. I'm done. Now, Reverend Phil, I've learned not to say to my wife, I was right. So I looked straight in the windshield. I did not dare to look left or right. I could see the glare right there in my rear view. I said, I will not turn around. In my head, I'm like, boy, I pay some good money for them cleats, for them shoes. Whether you like it, whether you don't, whether you're a water boy, on the bench, a cheerleader, you will show up. I don't care. I told your mom to put you with kids of your own age. She didn't listen. Now, I said that to myself. I didn't say it out loud. It was an internal dialogue. You still catch me? I said it to myself. You know? So I know better. So we go home. Second practice, Reverend Phil. Landon is still, I hate this. I don't like this. Now, mind you, I remember that I myself, I'm a soccer player. I've learned how to play soccer. I'm African. This is what we do. This is what we do. All our lives we play soccer. We even call it football, the real football. So I say, hey, let me go to my closet, dust off, take my whole shirts, forget to put some lotion on my ashy knees. I say, hey boy, you and I have a meeting in the backyard. Reverend Phil, I took the ball. I start kicking it. I start showing him the skills. I say, this is how you stop. This is how you kick. This is how you do. I start encouraging him all along. I start practicing with him. I say, go boy, go, run. Oh, kick that way. No, we don't kick this way. You bend your knees. You do this way. And I start getting joy. And I start seeing him smiling. And I saw the kid getting confidence because I was depositing something on the inside of him. I didn't care about the circumstances. I didn't care about the fact that he was out of a league of his own. I said, listen, let me put in you something and let's see what I put in you, how what I put in you will show up the next time you go into your practice. So next time we go, I said, Landon, I'm going to teach you a move. It's called the 360. So when you come with the ball and then the opponent comes around you, you just flip it that way, kick it in the side, because they may be tall, but you're faster than them. So use what you have to your advantage. Kick it on the corner and let them chase you and level the playing field. So I'm sitting there in the sideline and I'm sitting there, I'm looking at this little kid that was scared, that said, they're bigger, they're faster, they're out of my league. Remembering at a moment, I saw the switch on his face. Turn around and look at me and say, I'm about to do the special. And he came and flipped it around and then just started running. And then he looked at me, Reverend Phil, and he said, I got this. I don't know who I'm preaching to, but I'm trying to let you know, guys, that the trials and the tribulation in your life are just an opportunity for God your Father to show you what he has put on the inside of you. Maybe just maybe you wouldn't have known that you got a special move in you. Maybe just maybe you didn't know that you had a father that cared. But God will use the trials and the tribulation of our lives to put us in a position where he can deposit in us something that is necessary, that is needed, that is sufficient for us to face what is coming tomorrow. What I'm trying to suggest to you is just that the obstacles and the trials and tribulation that you are facing are not meant to break you, but rather to reveal what God has been building on the inside of you. The trials and the tribulation are unavoidable. They will come. If you are walking according to God's promises, you will face trials and you will face tribulations. The reality is, and what I'm trying to suggest to you this morning, my brothers and my sisters, is just that the trials and the tribulations that you face are not setbacks. They are a stage for God to reveal what he has already deposited on the inside of you. Even though your reality may seem harsh, even though that you may cry some tears, you are not being punished. You're being prepared. And the trials and tribulations are the proof that you have been called and you have been purposed by God. There is a saying that I've heard someone say that if the devil doesn't bother you, that means you and him are going in the same direction. So if you are not walking or working with the devil, know that if you are called by God, you will face trials and you will face tribulations. And this is where we meet our character of today's story. You know him, David. The story of David and Goliath, if you've been in church for quite some time, is something that is very familiar. It is so familiar to us that it has been even adopted in our regular jargon. So every time in the trial basis, you will hear this is a David versus Goliath type of cases, because it's a metaphor used to say that there is two foes, and out of the two foes, one is an underdog, one is just like Landon going against a team or going against a giant that is already vetted. It talks about the disparity between two opponents, with one having the upper hand. So every time you hear the story of David versus Goliath, know that it always talks about the strength and the resilience of someone that started on the lower spectrum that ended winning over that unsurmountable, or what appeared to be that unsurmountable challenge that they had to face. But this morning, I would like to attract your attention not on the after story of David and Goliath, but I would like for us to put our lenses on what led to David being David. If you indulge me for a second, the story of David starts in 1 Samuel chapter 16. Whenever you have time, go back and read it for yourself. 1 Samuel 16, and I will narrate it for you. God decided to reject King Saul because Saul had sinned, and God instructed Prophet Samuel to fill his corn with oil, and then instructed Samuel to go to Bethlehem, where he will anoint a new king in the house of Jesse, who is David's father. You are still with me? So God instructs Samuel to take a heifer. Everybody say goat. I'm not calling anybody heifer. It's goat. Goat. Heifer. Heifer. It means goat. Right? So he said, take the goat, go sacrifice, and when you go there, you will be in the house of a man called Jesse, and there I will anoint one of his sons to be the next king of Israel. So Samuel, the prophet, went to Jesse's house, and Jesse brought all of his sons in front of Samuel for them to be anointed. The first one came through, and this is where you heard that saying that men look at the appearance, but God looks at the heart. This is where that comes from, because Jesse brought his best son forward, and Samuel said, that's not him. Then the second one, that's not him. Then the third one, that's not him. Then the fourth one, that's not him. Then the fifth one, that ain't him also. Then the sixth one, all the way into all 7 of the sons of Jesse pass, to the point where Samuel the prophet started questioning if he heard from God, and say, is that all your sons? Don't you have anybody else? Surely there's got to be a mistake. And the father said, oh, my bad. There is one rascal that I have left to tend to the sheep. But that's not him. I don't think it's him. Don't worry about him. But Samuel said, go and call for him. And so they went and selected David, brought David right back in front of the prophet. And the prophet said, this is the one. This is the one I've been looking for. And then the prophet anointed his head with oil and crowned him king. Now we have all shouted, preach on being anointed in front of our enemies. We have all got excited at the part of David coming in front of Samuel, kneeling down, and then the oil being poured out on him. We've talked about, hey, God will elevate you in front of your haters. God will promote you in front of adversity. But my brothers and my sisters, the shout is not in the fact that David was anointed in front of his haters. The fact is David accepted to take care of the sheep. One time, second time. We shouted on the fact that David was anointed in front of his haters. But the story and the beauty in the story was just that David was not too big, was not too bougie to take care of sheep in the desert. That assignment was not glamorous. That assignment did not have anybody with cameras. There was nobody there that says, good job. There was nobody that says, you are listening to God. There is nobody that says, hey, great job. He decided to go where all his other brothers did not and refused to go, because he humbled himself to go to an isolation, and he was prepared for the oil. What are you trying to say? God, and this is my point, isolation from God is preparation and is protection from the gift killers that are surrounding us. 7 of the brothers have the same nature, and then the prophet was willing to anoint one person because on the outside they looked like they met the requirement. But my brothers and my sisters, when did God tested David's heart to say that I look at the heart and not at the appearance? When? In the desert. When David decided to just sit down and accept the assignment that was less than glamorous, God said, I will use that as an isolation to protect you, to prepare you. And while you are in the desert, I will watch you. It will be you and me, just like me and Landon in the backyard. I will start working with you. I will train you. I will teach you how to sing songs. I will teach you how to honor me. I will teach you how to worship me. You can be vulnerable. You can be yourself. Because he accepted preparation, he was ready for the crown. When you are called by God, people closest to you will misread you because of their insecurities and their own past failure. They will put you in an environment that is beneath your potential. People will question the motives of your calling if it doesn't align with things that they think are rational. Everybody that is around you does not have the best interest for you. The only reason why they keep you close enough is that if their life is worse, they know that there is somebody that is worse than them. So they keep you close enough to validate their insecurities. So sometimes God has to boot you out of that environment, put you in the desert, prepare you so that you can be ready for your crown. The king in David would have not been birthed if he was in his house, because they saw him as a shepherd boy when God saw him as a king. The king in you will never be born if you mess around with that same environment. The queen in you will never show up if you're still being tied onto those people that are good for nothing. So sometimes God has to use what I call isolation, not as a rejection, not as punishment, but as preparation. They have some haters in his own family. own family. If you read the text, it seemed as though they had a selective amnesia. If my brother is crowned king, that means the entire house has made it. Why will I hate that he is elevated when we are all beneficiary of it? You know why? Because it wasn't them. And if it didn't happen to them, it surely couldn't happen to him. Because when David showed up to the battlefield, his brother Eliab said, "What are you doing here? Who called you here? What are you doing here?" And the troubling word, read it on your own time. It's very interesting. He said, "I know the wickedness in your heart." Let's press pause. You failed the test when the prophet showed up. Because when the prophet were examining the heart, your heart was not even found worthy. How you who have an unworthy heart have the courage and the nerve to judge somebody that God has called the man according to my heart? It's because those people in our lives will attempt to sabotage the birthing of the greatness because they fail to just dare to be different. So God, in his omniscience, will shelter you and isolate you, not as punishment, but as the necessary preparation for the king in you to be born. When was David crowned king? In the desert. When was David found worthy to be king of Israel? When he was tending to the sheep. When he was tending to the sheep, he learned leadership. He learned how to talk to the people that will not talk back to him. It's one thing to lead people that will listen, and it's another thing to lead people that will not listen. Man, come here. Man, come out here. Man, what are you doing over there? He learned to just be patient. He learned he was killing his time writing songs. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He learned to fine-tune his skill set. He learned everything that was necessary for his tomorrow. Now here's the special sauce. God the Father said David is not agile, is not ready for battle. So God will stir up something and tickle a lion and tickle a bear and say, attack him, because the next stage of his life, in about 40 days from now, there will be a Goliath that will rise. But because he doesn't know that there is Goliath that is coming, let's have him train with the lion and with the bear. Learn how to kill them. Where? In his preparation. Why? Because there was Goliath that was coming. So God will send a bear, and David will be like, whoo, 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 floop, got you. And then he will send a lion, foo, 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 got you. Listen to me. You need to understand this, right? Lion and bear do not attack the same prey. They don't. Lion and bear don't eat the same thing. So when you are in a season in your lives where the enemies of yesterday become the friends of today to attack you, know that Goliath is coming. When people that hated you, talked about you, scandalized your name, our best friend, go shopping together, hanging out together, now all of a sudden they have a common target. Know that that's the preparation that God is readying you for a bigger battle that is coming. Many of you lose track of God's processes because you fix your gaze on the agony of the season in which you are. So rather than learning what God is trying to teach you, you focus on the pain of the circumstances. Newsflash, if it should have killed you, you would have been dead. And if you are still standing, that means it's a preparation. Because what doesn't kill you makes you what? Stronger. So this is not the first time you've been broke. This is not the first time you've been sick. This is not the first time you've been unemployed. The same God that did it then, it's the same God that is doing it now. Because it's preparation. You got to shift your mindset. your mindset. So he killed his lion. He killed his bear. He got the anointing on him. And then, one day, after the training has been successful, Daddy said, hey, here's some food. Go DoorDash it to your friends in the field. So he plugs in the address. Blip, 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 blip. Saul camps, Philistine battlefield. Picks up everything, the cheese, the goat, and everything else. And he said, well, my daddy says I need to go to the battlefield to check on my brothers. As he's driving on his donkey, I'm assuming, I don't even know if they had GPS then. He was going down his donkey, riding along, singing his song. David, David, what do you see? I see the Philistine looking at me. Well, you will get it later. If you have kids, you will know what I just did. If you don't have kids, don't worry about it. It will come back later. So he shows up to the battlefield. When he shows up to the battlefield, Reverend Phil, then the Bible says there was this Philistine from Gath that showed up and that was yelling at the children of Israel for 40 days. Every single day, he will say what he got to say and then bounce back, and all of them were afraid. If you read 1 Samuel 17 verse 4, you will truly see exactly what is happening. Like the author goes to great length to describe how gigantic this guy is, and talks about his accoutrement, and talks about how this is an unfair fight. But this entire time, there is nobody, including the king himself, including those haters of the brothers, because they were there. None of them could say anything. Now, the DoorDash said, you have arrived to your destination. And then David shows up. And then at the very specific moment that his foot entered the camp, by happenstance, some will say, Goliath came out and did what he typically does. Hey, Israel, send me a warrior, and I will fight him. And David is listening to it. And y'all, I read it to you. He's not even concerned about Goliath. He says, what are they going to give to whoever kills him? I'll say it 3 times because you're looking at me kind of funny. So I'll say it 3 times. Second time, the little boy. And you know, you guys know, like, I'm not insulting you, because when I read the Bible, like, I'm African, right? So English is my second language. So I have to break it down to make it sense. So I like to entertain myself. So imagine me, my accent, reading that story, and then me having a good time, right? It will make the story even better, I promise you. So I'm sitting and say, David shows up. Goliath shows up. Goliath is talking, insulting, ravaging. They are used to it, because they've heard it for 39 days. This is the first time he's hearing that. And when he heard that, when other people saw fear, he saw opportunity. He said, what are they going to give to the person that kills him? Third time. Y'all got it? Can't say again. Okay. So, David shows up with the DoorDash, checking the orders. Orders clear. Great. Eliab, do you have the rib? Got you. Ashinab, what you got? Fries? I got you. And then he hears this Goliath talking noise about the children of Israel and their God. And he said, what are they going to give me if I kill him? Do you understand the audacity to not being battered by a giant that shows up because you rely on what your father has deposited in you in a season right there? Because what he says to Saul is The opportunity that you see here may be new to y'all, but I was rejected by my family. I was isolated in the desert. And when I was there, when nobody was watching, I was learning how to kill lion, and I was learning how to kill bears. I've been trained, I've been there, I've done that, and I got a t-shirt for it. Him ain't nothing, because I faced worse. And the same God that delivered me then is the same God that is allowing me to cut this guy's head off. Your past preparation prepares you for future victories. So if you forsake the preparation, Goliath is a gigantic challenge. But if you have endured the trials and the tribulation, I don't care if it's Goliath, I don't care if it's cancer, I don't care if it's unemployment, I don't care if it's divorce, I don't care whatever name you can assign to it. I know that the God that delivered me then has given me something on the inside to attack and to defeat this. Greater is He that is in me than he that is in the world. I've been there, I've done this, I got this one. I've been there, they talked about me, I've got this. He's nothing. The preparation equips you for future battles. The second thing that I want you to attract your attention to is when everybody was afraid, David understood that this was a setup, not a showdown. How do I know it's a setup? It's in the text. Have you paid attention? 1 Samuel 17. There are three Hebrew words there that I want to walk you through it. 1 Samuel 17. 1 Samuel 17. And I will read it to you. You don't even have to look for it. 1 Samuel 17 said, they met in Soko. You still with me? That was between the valley of Azekah and Soko, in the valley of the Ephraim Ramedim, that name that I've said. Don't call me, I don't speak Hebrew. So this is what I read it, right? Just like that. So allow me to show you this. The word Soko in Hebrew, when you translate it, means pressure. It means enclosure. It means edge. But when you add the word Azekah to it, the word Azekah says prepared place to bear fruit. It was in Azekah, in Joshua chapter 10 verse 10, that the children of Israel, when Joshua was being attacked, Reverend Phil, that's where in Azekah Joshua killed 5 of the Amalekite kings and put his foot on the neck and said, son, stop in front of Gibeon. That was in Azekah. When you look at the next word, the words that I've given to you, the third word, which is Ephraim Ramedim, that word, all it means, that word is, this is where everything ends. So, Ephes Damim means the boundary of blood. This is where everything ends. David, having spent time with the Lord, understood that this was a setup, because God had already mined the field. And then this was an opportunity for God to end with Goliath. So he had the strength and the knowledge to know that I am standing on the ground that already has been tested and proven for God to intervene. So I don't care if it's a giant, I don't care what is the circumstances, but if you are already coming in a battlefield that has been already prepared by the Lord, I am not at a disadvantage. You are. David knew that God will oftentimes causes our enemy to forget who they are and to bring the battle to us. Why? Because he has confidence in what he has deposited in you. Come here, lean in. David, subsequently, it's not a wall, it's a door. Giants are not there to show your strength. You don't get strength when you show up to the giants. Giants reveal the strength that is already in you. Giants are just like mirrors. So when you see the giant, the reflection of what you're supposed to see is what God has done for you in the preparation. So the question becomes, therefore, if you are afraid of the giants, have you forsaken your preparation? Because when you show up in front of giants, it's not a fair fight. Because you got God on your side, you got a land field, and you got a history backing to let you know that God does wonders in this kind of atmosphere. So when he showed up, David showed up with past training. Remember the special sauce that his dad taught him in the desert place. And then look at the giant, smirked, looked at the land, sounds familiar. Looked at the giant and said, deja vu all over again. Take a sling and start working it, and working it, and working it, and working it. And then, phew, and then the giant fell. I thought, my brothers, I thought, my sisters, that was the end of the story. Whenever you're bored and then you want to read the Bible for yourself, because I know you love to read the Bible, make your way to verse 51. The Bible says that when the giant fell, David, that was 17 years of age, that couldn't even work with the armor of Saul. The Bible, your Bible, our Bible say he drew the sword out of Goliath's sheath and then cut his head off. When you read the text said, when the giant was knocked down, God did not do anything. David went to the giant, the kid that couldn't walk with the armor of Saul, took the sword of this massive giant that described his armor as 154 pounds, 600 shekels. He took that sword out of the giant's sheath, picked it up, and cut his head off. Third time, David, that couldn't walk, David, that couldn't move with Saul's armor, took that giant sword and cut his head off. Let me ask you a question. Where in the world does a 17-year-old get the strength to pick up the giant's sword and cut his head off? In the preparation. In the preparation. Because everything you needed was in your preparation. Giants do not reveal, do not intimidate you, because they show that you got this. The name Goliath means exposure. The name Goliath means reveal. What does it reveal? It revealed the strength that was already on the inside of you. How did he have the strength to pick up that sword and to cut his head off? Because he did not forsake the preparation. God has deposited something in you that is necessary and sufficient enough for you to face whatsoever circumstances that comes your way. And if God knows that you cannot handle it, He will remove you out of the way and step right in the middle of the situation. All God requires you to do is to show up. Even if you are afraid of the situation, even if you are afraid of the circumstances, even if they seem like they're gonna have the last word, just show up. Why? Because you've been prepared for this. You've been there. You've done that. And the same God that was good for you then is the same God that is going to be good for you now. My brothers and my sisters, understand what I'm trying to preach to you this morning. And that is that the reason why giants should not intimidate you is because God uses giant to show you that He already prepared you for something like that. Kirk Franklin says this: I've gone through the fire and I've been through the flood. I've been broken in two pieces. I've seen lightning flash from above, but through it all, I remember that He loved me and He cared, and He will never, and He will never, and He will never, and He will never, and He will never put more on me, put more on me than I can bear. Never put more on me than I can bear. So that means if I'm facing giants and I cannot bear it, it's the end of my intervention and it's time for the divine to step in. But one way or another, whether I kill it or the Lord does it, this giant will be gone. I don't know who I'm preaching to. You've cried far too long. You've worried yourself for far too long. You're worrying about why they left you. You worry about why the door was shut. You worry about why this opportunity didn't take off. It was the necessary preparation for the greater things that God has for you. If you took a peek to your future, you understand that He had to isolate you, because after Goliath there is greater, there is better, there is more that comes. The Apostle Peter said this: after you have suffered a little while, there will be glory after this. After you have endured for a little while, after you have stayed resilient for a little while, after you stood still for a little while, there will be glory after this. I come to preach to somebody. There is glory after this. There is more after this. There is deliverance after this. There is job after this. There is joy after this. Hold on a little while longer. Hold on. Hold on. Because there's glory after this. Your life, your story will not end that way. Your life, the circumstances around you will not finish that way. They will not bury you in failure, because there's glory after this. You've gone through the fire. You've been through the flood. You've been broken into pieces. and you've seen lightning flashing from above. But through it all, you got to remember that He loves you and He cares, and He will never put more on you. No, never put more on you. Never put more on you than you can bear. And I know it's tough right now. I know you cannot see the end right now. But if you hold a little while longer, I am convinced that the same God that allowed David to kill a giant is the same God that has prepared you to face any giants in your life. And this morning my prayer is as follows. May God reveal the strength that He has built on the inside of you, and that in spite of you panicking and crying, that you can be comforted in the fact that the God that is the God of the impossible has weighted you and know what you can and cannot handle. And when the balance scale tipped in the I cannot handle anymore, He will not allow for you to collapse. He will step right in the nick of time, because He will never give you more than you can bear. You've got this, church. You've always got it. You just needed a giant to remind you that you got it. So next time that you see your giant, consider it an opportunity, as a signal, as a sign that God is about to move you from trials to triumph. Because giants are not a wall, they are an opportunity. You got this.